Alrighty, hello everyone. Thanks for jumping on board and watching this case study here. It's Dalton from Dalton Frank Coaching, and today I am joined with one of my amazing clients and a really good friend. He actually it has turned out to be, as much as he was a little bit of a pain to work with at times. No, I'm joined by my guy here, Blake. Introduce yourself for the people, let them know what you do and how we actually met.
Hey everyone, so as Dalton said, my name's Blake. So I started getting coached by Dalton about 3 years ago now, just when I needed some extra structure and accountability. At the time I was studying physiotherapy and had quite a busy work schedule, uni schedule. And whilst I loved my training and loved my nutrition side of stuff, I really found that I was quite overworked and really wasn't giving the time and effort to be meeting my goals. And so I reached out to Dalton and we started from there. Since then, we've been, going strong for 3 years. And now it's to the stage where instead of having weekly sort of check-ins with him, we just touch base on sort of a monthly basis. And then I'm sort of just self-efficiently managing everything else between that time.
Yeah, we did a pretty cool job of taking you from someone who had a lot of knowledge, but like it's hard to be objective with yourself and know if you're executing stuff properly. So we took it from there and applied it into a way that allowed you to be directed and have the outlet that you wanted to be having, and then exist in the body and stuff that you wanted to be having. And then also we slowly transitioned that away, so it hasn't been like you've just stayed on one-on-one coaching. I like this. This is something that I say to all my clients, is that my end goal is not to keep you around. I really want to let you go and essentially be able to do this for yourself. So that has always been our end goal. And even though I do have clients that stay on with me for a few years, that it's never just for one thing. We've been focusing on some fat loss phases, some muscle growth phases. So how about you let us know about some of those? What was kind of different about what you've done before with your own fat loss phases than what we were doing?
Yeah, so prior to starting with you, Dold, I'd done an ICM bodybuilding comp. So I was sort of, had dieted down to fairly lean previously, and then I'd rebounded pretty bad. And I think the thing I really wanted when I came to you was just to be able to have more flexibility. A lot of my other coaches, I had one coach prior to you who I did that comp with, and it was very meal plan based. Mm-hmm. And this coach didn't really go into too much more than that. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I guess my mindset around food, around training, and I guess the strategies I had in place weren't really sufficient to what I was wanting with my physique. And so originally we spent quite a lot of time on, I guess, setting boundaries and trying to work on my food habits, strategies for when I wanted to overeat, for example, undereat, and whatnot. And so the first sort of, I think, for 3 months was probably really trying to improve that mindset. And then that set the basis and framework to sort of go on to fat loss stages and then a building stage after that. So after that 12 weeks, we did, I think we did a 3-month cut, going into a music festival that I knew was going to be 35 degrees and I was going to be shirtless. Right. So, and I remember rocking up to that festival and just looking by far the best I had. I had more muscle than when I did my comp, and I was almost just as lean. So it was really quite a successful sort of 6 months with you to really start and kickstart our journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that feeling of taking your shirt off and rocking around at the festival without being like having the self judgment or the self doubt about what it is that you look like and stuff, and you can kind of just let loose and have fun. As much as people rag on it, it's fun when you have a goal, when you have an outlet and something in mind. You want to run right at it. So I think that's a really cool thing to aim for. And it was awesome to see you achieve it. So then we did the muscle gaining phase, and we've done it on and off for a little bit now. We've done some to put on a few kilos, and then some to do a very slow recomp phase as well after that. How do you feel that they've gone?
Yeah, really, really well. And as we said, like now it's to the stage where I'm so self-sufficient with it. And that's because every time we've done, a fat loss stage or a building stage, I felt that the knowledge I've got from each one of those in terms of, micronutrients, macronutrients, training, nutrition, as I said, the strategies that you've given me has really allowed me to just keep progressing quite well. And so, each one, obviously there's always hurdles, but I feel that because it's been so collaborative, each hurdle we've been able to overcome and have me meet my goals, quite effectively. I was in the best shape of my life for that music festival, but it also enabled me to maintain such a leaner look throughout the year, continuing on. I found that in previous building phases, I've been definitely chubbier than what I was when we started ours, and that really gave me a much better framework to continue on with a building phase. And now that I've got that extra muscle mass, it's then that repeat cycle of now I've got more muscle mass, so it's easier for me to stay leaner. And it's really been those skills that I've sort of developed through each sort of little mesocycle we've done that's allowed me to continue that. And that's probably been one of the best things I think for me with working with you, is now having that under my belt throughout the year.
Yeah, exactly. And once you're there, I think I described this to some of the other clients and some people that always prospect from me as well, is that once we do these, like, it's so much easier to maintain it on the other end. Once we got through it, it is a little bit of hard work initially, and it does take some tweaking and finding, but when you're on the other side of that, it's worth its weight in gold having gone through and done it, because you're just in a position that if life comes and COVID shuts things down, or for whatever reason work throws you get thrown in work and you can't do anything for a few months or whatever, you're in such a great health spot, both metabolically and also physically, that whatever things that you cop, it's so much easier to correct from there. You're not on the other end. You're not at that the beginning phase or whatever, where it's so hard. Like, you see the cost of that, add on to how long you've got left to go. Really, you're just looking at a few weeks to tweak some things, and you're back to good, back at 100%.
Well, it's funny you say that, because actually, I don't know, do you remember I broke both my hands about 18 months ago? And I remember coming to you, we were still working together, and I broke both my hands, and I was just beside myself, because I was going to be in 2 casts for 8 weeks. And I was thinking, I'm going to come out, I've done all this work, I'm going to lose it all. I'm going to, come out looking so bad. And at the end of the 8 weeks, when I got my cast off, I was obviously not looking as good as I was 8 weeks ago, but I was probably 5 or 10% worse. Just because of those strategies and habits that I had, and other little things that I never used to do, like thinking about steps or the amount of water, or just the way I was structuring my food. I was just maintaining throughout, and I was training 3 times a week doing legs, and that was it. I was walking. I wasn't able to do any strenuous activity. And I think it was really at that point, after those 8 weeks, that I looked back and I thought, you know what, I can really see not only physically my development, but also my mindset within how I structure my day, within how I'm able to now structure my diet. That was probably one of the biggest things where, I guess, reflective, I was like, okay, I can now really see the growth there. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's not like as human beings, you'd know this better than most, but we don't really have many receptors for things. We don't have a receptor to say like, oh, where was my mindset at, 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, 1 year ago, or whatever. But it's when we have those comparing, contrasting experiences that we go, hold on, like, I used to handle this, I'd break down when this news would happen. And right now I'm taking it in my stride, and I'm, trying to figure out what things that I can do and letting go of things that I can't. Which is kudos to you, because I can tell you all these things to do, but it's actually down to you to apply them and start practicing them for it to actually happen. So you have to own a lot of your own results, mate, as well.
And yeah, 100%. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I believe that for sure. But I think the biggest thing was definitely how easy and set out you made it. It makes it much easier to follow. When you have your plan, you have step by step on how you're going to get there, and it seems achievable.
Cool. All right. So to get us some insight into what your experiences were when you joined my coaching experience, what were you looking to resolve? What were the things that you were really coming to be worked on?
Yeah, I think the main thing was probably just having more flexibility with my diet. I definitely felt I was quite restricted in what I was eating. I had definitely some beliefs about what it meant to be on a diet and to lose weight.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, for sure. And just, I definitely was your typical bro that thought, chicken and rice and you can't be eating like naughty foods. And I just felt like I was yo-yoing. I was just, I would eat, good for 3 days and hit my macros or whatnot. And then, the next 2 days I'd be binge eating and have all those cravings.
Yeah.
And so I guess just having seen your clients and how flexible their diets were, it was definitely something that that was one of my goals. And that's why I think that, those first 3 or 4 months were really around my mindset. And yeah, ever since then, the way I eat, the way I think about food has all been, miles apart to when we first started.
Yeah, sick. Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing. So like at the time, what would it have meant to you to solve that problem really when you first came to me? Like how urgent was it for you?
Yeah, I think, I was always someone who was, from the outside, probably didn't seem like I was too self-conscious, but I was always, very self-conscious about my weight, what I looked like. And, it definitely plays into your day quite significantly. I think confidence within all aspects of life is quite important. And, if you're not confident within your own skin, it's going to show in other areas. And so for me, it was definitely to do with that. Yeah. And, it was something that, it was quite significant in terms of a goal that I really wanted to achieve. I was very much sick of that yo-yoing, for sure. And as I've said, like within, the first few months of us working together, they were all resolved. Those beliefs weren't there anymore. I was a lot more educated around my nutrition training and what it actually meant to live the lifestyle to have the physique I wanted. So yeah, and it's funny because I was eating more pizza, I was eating more ice cream, I was eating more of those foods that I thought I could never have when I was with you than when we started, than before it, and I was looking better.
Right. Yeah.
So it was just
going through all those binges and still like looking better, eating it more frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny when that happens. Hey, it's like some people just can't believe that including more of it, but in a different way, in a controlled manner, with some different beliefs around it, actually allows it to fit a lot easier and has less of a consequence on your physique.
Yeah. That flexibility was the biggest goal, and that flexibility has now allowed me to, maintain the physique I want for the past 3 years.
Yeah, awesome.
It's funny how it works that way.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it's you're limiting yourself by doing the thing that like we need to do, but just in a different way. Like we kind of see like more work or more effort is always the answer, and so you end up driving yourself insane trying to figure out how to do it harder or more often, when really sometimes the answer is a lot less.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So what were your 3 biggest takeaways from working with me?
In terms of what I've taken away, or
like small lessons and stuff like that, like the one we were just talking about, even you can use that one. I'll let you have that one.
Yeah, so definitely flexibility is something that's so important, and knowing how to use flexibility to still meet your goals. I think having more macro and micro knowledge was something that has been really quite crucial to my goals. Having that knowledge allows me to make better informed choices, and therefore has really allowed me to continue on. And I think that the other thing is just to have fun with it. We get so stressed out about it, but we were having so much fun with our programming and
we're playing around with a bunch of things, trying to figure out
so much cool stuff. We did so much cool stuff, and it was so different to the past previous experiences I'd had with coaches. So they were probably the three biggest things that I think allowed me to have success, but has also been the driver of me staying on with you for so long.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I like that approach of giving people options and be like, all right, this is the stuff I think will work. This is the stuff that I think is going to be really hard. And, like, let's give it a crack. And sometimes I just don't know the answer of what is going to come out. Like, I don't know which one's going to work best for you, but I'll give them a crack.
Yeah. And that's, I think you always sort of prioritize your client's desires in that, you give options of, yes, we want to get this goal. Here are some ways we can get there. What's the best way for you? Mm-hmm. And I think as a client, it makes you, really understand that your questions, your queries are listened to, what you want. It's not just Dalton's way. It's Dalton and Blake's way. It's a collaboration. And for me, that gave me more buy-in, and definitely made the process a lot smoother than what it probably would have been if your model of coaching wasn't like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Awesome. Alrighty, cool. Let's help finish this sentence. This one's a fun one. I nearly didn't become a client with Dalton Frank because didn't you nearly?
He had the ugliest beard I've ever seen.
It was so bad. I forget.
So grotty.
Oh, that's so don't.
In all seriousness. You're good looking now. It's all that matters.
Yeah, that's right.
Must be that engaged life, that married life.
Married life now, yeah. To keep it tidy.
Yeah. To be honest, I think it's sort of hard to differentiate, coaches when they all seem to be doing similar things. And I think that, it wasn't until I really started getting into conversations with you that I realized how different you were to other coaches. Mm-hmm. And so I think it wasn't until I really started with you that I realized, the crux of your knowledge base. There's only so much you can convey over social media, I think.
It's very hard.
So I think that's probably one thing that might have made me nearly not. The other thing is also, I guess,
something other clients have said to me. Don't worry, I won't take offense to it. It's like how people have like read social media impressions or stuff like that. That it's like, maybe he's not for me, and I'm like, oh, yep. You know what? Like, I'm not sometimes not the greatest at getting some things across, and it can be really hard to get across an idea in 200, 300 words.
I think that every coach goes through the same thing, though. You're not alone with that. Like that, it's not something. I've had those thoughts with other coaches as well. I think I was trying to think of something else. What was the other thing I had? I had something else. I can't think of it now.
Sorry, man.
I really didn't become a client because it's on the tip of my tongue. This is annoying. Oh yeah, that's right. So the other thing that I guess also came into account was me as a uni student trying to justify paying money for coaching when I felt like I sort of understood quite a lot of that nutrition and stuff. But now looking back at it, people pay, that much or more for PT sessions for 1 hour or 2 hours, or, people pay $60, $80, $100 to go to group training for the week. And the amount of knowledge and difference that you've made, I can honestly sit here and say that the money I've spent with you is by far the best money that I've spent towards my physique, my knowledge. The stuff you've given me I look at it as an investment now because, in 5 years to come, everything you've taught me over the past 3 years, I'm still going to be, putting to use. And so I think that taking the plunge sometimes is something that can be quite scary. That might have ended up having me not get a coach again. But looking back, it's the best decision I've made.
Oh, awesome. Thanks, man. That's really kind of you. All right, cool. My finish the sentence. My favorite thing about working with Dalton is what?
Yeah, just everything we've spoken about, really, like the flexibility, the knowledge you've given me. It's given me flexibility not only with my nutrition but my training as well. And it's definitely, you're someone who's always listened to my concerns, listened to my queries. So I think feeling like it's a partnership and not someone you're getting coached by is probably one of the favorite things I've had. With being coached by you.
Thanks, man. It's really cool. And last one, just to finish it off, who would you recommend working with me and why? If there's a particular niche, if there's a particular person, who do you think that would be and why?
I would honestly recommend you to anyone, mate. I think that whether you're on the IFBB stage, you've got clients who have done well in bodybuilding shows like that. Whether it's the WBFF stage and it's a different bodybuilding federation, to someone who's just wanting to lose a few kilos and they've never had a coach before, or they've never been in the gym before. I think that the really one of your biggest strengths is being able to convey your knowledge and evidence base into layman's terms that the client can understand. For me, having a physio background, being in the gym for quite a few years, I was really able to tap into a lot of those complexities that we've spoken about. But also, I've seen 100 times, you explain complex things to people who have no health literacy. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's something that's really, one of your strengths is that no matter who you are, I really think that you'd be able to help them. I mean, you're now coaching coaches, so I think that says enough for itself.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. Hopefully if you guys aren't convinced by Blake's case study, then I don't know who you're going to be convinced by. So I just wanted to say a massive thanks, mate. Lastly, if we can, do you have any of the specifics of how much and stuff that we lost at any time, or how much muscle and stuff that we've gained, or I can add those in at the end of the case study or something like that? If you've got them off the top of your head, do you remember those?
Yeah, I remember the first. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for all you've done for me. If anyone listening to this has any questions, honestly, just get my details off Dalton and send me a message. I'm more than happy to answer any, because you've always gone out of your way for me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without you. Okay. I think that first cut we did, I think I lost a good 5 kilos of body fat, and I ended up putting on a few kilos of muscle, which I wasn't really, like, I was already probably 13-14% body fat. So for me to lose that much in the time frame we did was really quite a successful cut, in my opinion. And then since then, I've just been adding on lean tissue since. So I remember when I first started with you, I think I was 78 kilos, or just on 80 kilos, where now I'm 85, 86, and in much leaner condition. So over these 3 years, it's been a good probably 6 or 7 kilos of lean muscle and better condition, which you're never getting better results than that. So
that's awesome. That's like kind of the maximal rate of like all those fast results, but with sustainable ways as well.
Exactly.
And they were the results that I had here, but I was like, I just wanted to double check, make sure that they weren't me making up results and stuff like that.
No, it's been great, mate. It's been it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, man. It's been awesome. All right, cool. Well, cheers. Thanks for doing this, mate. And obviously, I'll if anyone wants to reach out to Blake, they can DM me and I'll pass on their details. Thanks, man.
Where can I get that party shirt from? I want one.
I think Target $10. Target or Kmart $10. I'll get you one. I'll get matching bottoms. That's the next.
I might have to. Yeah, that'll be good. I might have to wear it to my next music festival.
Yeah, I'll come.
All right, Dalton.
All right, bro. Thanks, mate.